Hello there people, this is Christian. Welcome back to an empty Fusion 360 on my computer and a question from Reddit. Let's bring up the image. The question was, how do I create something like this in Fusion? How do I get the geometry into Fusion? Well, step one is we need to look at the geometry we have in front of us. So I'm going to pick up some nice color here. Let's use red. If we have a look at this, we have a really small part up here that's straight. We have the same part down here. And looking at it, we can definitely see we have a circular symmetry. We have a symmetry in the vertical direction here. This looks to be the same all the time around. And this looks like rhombic faces, like mark one up here. But looking slightly at the shadows, I suspect these are simply triangular faces. That's my design intent. And looking a bit more at that, let's do blue. If we have a look here, we can like see here's an edge, here's an edge, here's an edge, here's an edge, and they need to be all the same length because we can see they are symmetrical, the same. So this should be the edge of a polygon. And then of course we look, see here we have like the center of this edge of a polygon. Look up, we get a corner. So that means that this here should be the same polygon, only switched over 1/2 length or the angular. So this corner gets in the middle of this edge here. So that can be useful for the design. And of course, let's have a look. Of course, I'm going to pick up green here. If we look, here's a good example. If we look at this triangle here, the triangle above is simply a mirror of the one below. It's the same here. This triangle here, I have a mirror triangle up here. So I only need to do half a layer. I think about this like here are 5 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 5 layers plus these small straight parts. And I only need to do half a layer. So let's do that. So the aim I'm having here now is trying to make, let's switch over to yellow. I want to make this triangle here and this triangle here, and then use tools like mirror, circular pattern, and rectangular pattern to move it on. So let's go with the Fusion. This was the first workflow I did. For you to skip forward, move to the solid one. That's going to be in the end. Let's start by creating a sketch. We have a surface one. I'm going to do it from the top, so we're going to do it on the XY plane, so we can see the top up here in the 3D cube. We're going to create a polygon. Let's do a circumscribed. I'm going to tab over and tell Fusion of what needs to be 12 sides. And to start off, I'm going to make this here horizontal to lock in things, and then I'm going to dimension from here to here. Fusion wants to move around, so I'm going to right click, say align, so locks in, and that's going to be 70. I'm going to finish this sketch and open up my sketches, tell Fusion I want to see this dimension because I'm going to use it. I could name it, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to use that show dimension, show some different ways to do things. The next thing I need to do, I want to do the second polygon, so I need like one polygon. We can finish the bottom one here. Now I want to make the next one, so I need to make an offset plane, and that offset plane from the hold down my mouse button. Sorry, I can move from a profile, doesn't matter. Offset plane. What's the distance? That's a half a layer, so I'm going to name it this half layer. Tell Fusion I want it to be 4 millimeters, like that. Why did I name it? That's because I will be using this layer later in the rectangular pattern. Create a sketch, open up browser, select the plane we just created. We can create a polygon, circumscribe polygon. Once again, tab over, select 12 sides. Now, the important thing, we go horizontal, vertical, but now we're going to select a corner and origin point. So that means, hit escape to stop the constraints, that this here now is in the center of this here. Now I like to do a dimension from here to here, move out here, and of course this should be the same. So I'm going to pick up this dimension here by clicking on it. You see it says D1, hit enter. So they have now the same size. I'm going to finish sketch. So now we have 2 sketches here. That's just nice. So how do I now connect and make the triangular faces? to be honest, the first version I did, I used 3D sketching, but that's not really necessary here. We can use the surface tools and create surface lofts, because we can loft from a straight line to a point. Hit OK. We can create once again. We can do loft from a straight edge to a point. Hit OK. And if we have a look now, we have made 2 triangles, this triangle and this triangle. Let's have a look at here. We have made one of these triangles and one of these triangles. So we're getting somewhere. So what I will do now, I will open up a browser for the bodies and hold down Control, select both of them, and tell Fusion I want to stitch them together. Then S on the keyboard, circular pattern of bodies. Yes, please. This body axis gonna be the blue Z axis 12 times. That's correct. It needs to be the same number as the number of sides on the polygon, of course. So we have this. Select this one, hold down Shift and select the bottom one. It's gonna highlight all of them. Once again, stitch this. So now I have made half a layer. So what I didn't know, I'm gonna use mirror. S on the keyboard, start typing in mirror. Once again, bodies, this body. Now, which mirror plane do I want to use? Well, I could use one of the origin planes, but I like to keep on moving upwards. So I could lose my construction plane I created earlier, because that is in the middle. That's a half layer. So I'm going to click that. Fusion will select join operation for us. Yeah, that's good. In case we will keep it as one body. Going to hide the sketches for now. Both sketches. So like that, we can see we have made one layer. You can see the 2 triangles. You see this rhombic shape here. S on the keyboard. And now we're going to do a rectangular pattern. Rectangular pattern of what? Bodies. This body. Direction going to be the Z axis here. And the distance type is going to be spacing, not extent. We need to select spacing. What's the spacing? We're going to type in this. That is our half layer. But of course, that's a half layer, so we need to multiply it by 2. Number of layers from the image. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. So let's do 5 layers. Hit OK. And we have something like this. I'm going to use window select now. You can use whatever tools you want. Do full selection of everything. Stitch it together. But what I want to do now, I want to go from surface bodies to a solid body. So I'm going to do patch, close up the top, select the top edges, hit OK. Patch, rotate our model, select the bottom, and tell Fusion that these 3 bodies, we want to stitch them together. And that will turn it into a solid body. So we've done most of the things. What we have left are these little straight parts here. So I'm simply going to hit E on the keyboard for extrude. I'm going to do this half layer, but I'm going to do that divided by 2, so that's a quarter height of a layer. And extrude once again the bottom, do half layer divided by 2, so a quarter of a layer. Because of course we have a solid body. S on the keyboard and do shell, the blue one. Top face, let's do it 0.8 for good for 3D printing or something like that. And by doing that, we have created something that looks like in the image a bit very much lower compared to one here. But okay, we have something. The problem, of course, of this surface model is that it's a bit hard to make surface models parametric. In like circular pattern, rectangular patterns will get confused when you change the number of bodies. But we can have a bit of look at this. I'm going to turn over to orthographic show and look from the front. If you look here, you can see this looks very much like straight cuts. If I start with a cylinder and then cut away this shape for all the faces and we slightly rotate it, you can see we have like this cut out shape here. So that is, let's go back to perspective view. That is the idea of the solid workflow. And that's going to be driven by parameter. So we need to set up some parameter. So we get done with surface one. Let's forget one and move over to a new one. Once again, an empty workspace. And step number 1 now, we're gonna set up our parameters. You can name them to whatever you want. This is how I name them. Let's start with Vase. Oh, sorry about my throat. OD, outer diameter. Let's make that 80 millimeters. We're gonna do a vase height 100 for fun of it. We need to decide how many faces we're gonna have around. So face count, important thing, you need to change the units to no units. We had 12, let's be a little naughty, make them 13. And of course we need a layer count, how many layers we want. Once again, no units, we're going to do 5 of those. What else do we need to know? So I'm going to drive this with the outer diameter and the height. I will not tell Fusion what height each layer is going to have. The layer height is going to drive that. And as shown in this, let's move over to this. I decided that this here and this here together is, that's 1/4 of a layer, that's 1/4 of a layer, so that's 1/2 layer. So I'm going to use that. Modify change parameters. We need to calculate the layer height. We'll be using that in the design. And that needs to be our vase height divided by the number of layers of layer count plus 0.5, and those 0.5 are the 2 quarter layers that's going to be straight at the top and bottom. So we're going to do it like that, and by that I like to type in cal key to know that this is a calculated value. That gives us the layer height. Face count we have, we could calculate the angle of that, but we're going to do that in the sketch for one face. Let's see, I forgot anything. I'm just making this out of, I have no notes, so let's see. I might have forgotten something. We're going to do that later, but yeah, I'm going to be satisfied with that for now. It's going to hit OK. We have a parameter set up, so let's start sketching. Let's once again create sketch. Let's do it from the top. Now we're going to start with a circle. C on the keyboard. And that's of course going to be our outer diameter of a vase. Like that. We're going to make a line that goes from here to here. It's going to be horizontally constrained. And still some lines. We can do some construction lines. Going to go from here up to here. From here down to here. And now we shall dimension this. This is one edge of the finished part. So that is the edge of a face. So that's going to be 360 degrees divided by face count. So this is going to be the length of the edge of one face. Now I will do line once again. Did I get a, I want to do a line. Stop being naughty, Fusion. Line. Construction line, yes please. I'm just going to make a line here for now. And I'm going to tell Fusion these two are going to be equal. And I make one more line from the end point here up to the origin point of the center point of a circle. And tell Fusion this is going to be vertical. Let's open up a sketch. We have the fully defined sketch. This is where the second of the next layer edge is going to end up. So I'm making this sketch so I can simply project it to the next one. I don't need to think too much. So I'm gonna finish sketch. Create an offset plane. We are basically almost doing the same workflow once again. Hold down the mouse. No. I want to show you this offset. Hold down. Yeah, it selects the layer. So let's do it. Okay. I want to select the planes of the regional planes here. I want to avoid select other things that can confuse Fusion later. So how far away do we need to make the layer? So we had a calculated layer height, but of course we only need to be this halfway, so divide it by 2. We're going to create a sketch on a new little layer here, and the only thing I need to do is project in this line here. Hit OK. So now I have the, oh sorry, no, I need one more thing. I also need a line here, construction line. Let's hide the first sketch. from the midpoint here straight into the center point of a circle or origin point. Now I can finish sketch. So we have our two little sketches here, or two edges. We're gonna now do a sketch on the ZY plane from this direction. Now it starts to get confusing, I know. And we will project in this point out here. And we want to project in this. Let's see, so I do this in the correct order. And this up here. I'll hit OK. Hide the other two sketches. So, a line from here, simply straight up. Make a line from here to here, closing up one of the cutting tools. From here to here to here. Make that horizontal. And I'm going to use a midpoint constraint of this line to this point here, and tell Fusion that these two lines here are equal. These two lines here or these two lines here are equal. Creates a fully defined sketch. I'm gonna finish sketch. Have a look how things look here. So I have this. This is gonna be one of my cutting tools. So the next thing I want to do, I want to create construct plane at angle. I need to basically do the same thing for the other version of the faces. I'm going to use the line I did up here. Tell Fusion I want the plane at 900, at 90 degrees. So it stands up. Hit OK. Create sketch on this plane here. So let's see, what information do I need here? I need to project in the line I have here, and I need this point here, and I like to do an S and do an intersection of the circle. Where are you? Why can't, oh, sorry, selection filter was bodies. I need to switch over to specific entities and the circle. Hit OK. And let's hide all the sketches I have. We can have this for reference. So in this case, I will do things the other way around. I will do line, line, go up, go out, in, and from here to here. And I'm going to cut away like that. And I need to make a line from here up to here. Creates a lot of confusion. I'm sorry about that. Like that. Tell Fusion these two needs to be equal. I'm going to hide the sketch behind. And let's see, did I get the constraints, all of them? Yes. It gets fully defined. Thank you, Fusion. So basically, I've created two cutting tools, and we can add this. This can really be, should be able to have a construction line. So you can see I have this cutting tool here and this cutting tool here. Sorry if I'm confusing. That's part of my way of designing things. I'm always confusing. So let's now starting doing some geometry things. We're going to extrude this cylinder here, including the small part here. Don't forget that one there. How far gonna we extrude it? This gonna be layer height multiplied by layer count. So I'm not doing the full height because I'm gonna do that a bit later when I extrude the quarter layer height here and quarter layer height at the bottom. And I'm gonna do E for extrude and select these two little profiles. Not one side, symmetric. And here are some, I try to avoid do all because that's quite heavy on Fusion, because we're going to do a pattern of this. So I'm going to use the OD of our vase like that. So I'm going to cut away that. Do an extrude, select this little profile here. Once again, symmetric. Outer dimension, OD. Like that. Gonna hit OK. You can see we are starting creating our triangular face. S on the keyboard, circular pattern, yes. In this case, we're going to use features. And the two features we're going to do are our last two extrudes that created these faces here. Axis, I can simply select the cylinder, and quantity should be the face count, like that. and we need to do adjust. Adjust means that Fusion will repeatedly do the extrudes and calculate new faces, because as you can see, the extrudes will be overlapping themselves, so we need to do adjust. Let's see how this works out. Yes, we have one layer. S on the keyboard. Once again, we're going to do a rectangular pattern. Or not once again, like basically the same as the surface workflow. But we're going to do features. In this case, we're going to do the circular pattern, the extrude, and the extrude. Direction is going to be our blue Z-axis. Once again, spacing. In this case, we have calculated the parameter layer height. And layer count is the quantity. And once again, compute option needs to be adjust to work here. So I'm going to hit OK. Wait for Fusion to think. And we are getting somewhere. Gonna hide the sketches for now. E on the keyboard for extrude. Extrude this. This is gonna be layer height divided by 4. I want it to be a quarter. E once again. The bottom here. Layer height divided by 4. And for fun, let's do an inspection. Inspect. Bottom face. Top face gives us a height of 100 millimeter. Let's have a look at our parameter. We had a height of 100 millimeters, so we've done things correctly. I have forgotten one parameter modify. Let's add that. Vase wall to be consistent what we're doing. Face wall 0.8. Hit OK. OK. S on the keyboard. Shell. And here, and that's going to be our wall parameter, like that. And we have now made a solid model with the possibility of modifying. Let's see if this works. I hope this works now. I spent too much time, so this should be working. So, okay, that's a bit too high. That should only be 70 millimeters height. Change parameter, wait for Fusion to think, and it updates the model. Or maybe I only want 4 layers. Yeah, but I want more faces. I want 15 faces. It should, yeah, more faces. Maybe I want to, yeah, I'm gonna have 7 here. Let's get a bit over top. Let Fusion think, and of course we can change. So you need to be 120 millimeters in outer diameter. Let's see if Fusion can do that without crashing. It's fun to play with parameters. Yes. So this workflow here, let's go out of here. This was a surface workflow. It's a bit more steps. This is a parametric solid workflow that might be a bit easier to follow along with, but I would not find this workflow without first doing the surface. So I had a model to have a look at, and then I started thinking, how can I turn this into a parametric solid workflow? So I hope I haven't confused you too much or putting strange things in your head. Start thinking. I know it's a long weekend, or in Sweden it's a long weekend. So with that said, hope to see you around. Take care and goodbye.